Hi, I'm Becki Willis, and I have been a member of Texas Authors now for about 9 years. This is my 30-something book, I'm not sure. I lose count. It's called The Bone Witcher of Knob Mountain, and it's the first book of my new series, Intuitive Investigations. And it's about, it's set in the Ozarks, and so there's a lot of just folklore, natural healing. It's not witchcraft, it's not fantasy, it's just a good it's a mystery, but it does have elements of folklore. So, chapter 1. Willow Alexander didn't consider herself particularly superstitious, but even a non-believer such as herself knew that when the door opened at exactly 33 minutes past 3 on the third day of March, 333, trouble was brewing. The old man didn't look like the typical troublemaker. A few decades ago, perhaps, but not now, and not in his current state. Dried mud and motor oil had settled into the creases of his rumpled clothes, and the smell of a wood fire clouded the air around him. His shock of white hair escaped in all directions, bringing to mind Albert Einstein. The difference was in the eyes. This man's were a rheumy blue, their color and vitality fading with each passing year. If not for the prick of apprehension dancing along her skull, Willow might feel sorry for him. The air had a sudden chill to it. Intuition told her that a storm had followed him in. Willow glanced at the other woman in the room. If Everly felt the change, she didn't let it show. Her smile was as friendly and effervescent as always. Welcome to Intuitive Investigations. How may we help you today, sir? Her friendly demeanor was a perfect buffer for first-time clients. Approaching a private detective agency could be daunting for most people, but her smile helped put them at ease. Without preamble, the old man blurted, "I know who killed them boys." With a sharp intake of breath, Willow pushed away from her desk and approached the raggedy old man. "I'm Willow Alexander." She extended her hand with what passed as a smile. "And you are?" The hand he offered was stiff from arthritis and marred from age and hard work. Willow was surprised to feel the strength in his grip. "Gus McMurray." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. McMurray." She motioned to the other woman. "This is Everly, my daughter, and one of my partners. Why don't we have a seat and discuss your situation?" "I ain't got a situation. I got answers to a 25-year-old mystery, and I aim to get it off my chest once and for all." Gus McMurray punctuated the bold claim by banging his fist on the edge of Everly's desk. "I understand that, Mr. McMurray, but we really need more information than that in order to help you." Exasperated, the older gentleman threw his arms out to his sides. "What more is there to say? Them boys went missing in the hills 20-odd years ago, and they're dead, and I know who killed them." Willow had no doubt to his sincerity. It was his mental acuity she questioned. "I'd really like to hear more. Please, let's step into the next room so we can talk privately." "I done spilled the beans in front of her," he said, hitching the thumb toward Everly. "I meant from anyone who might come in the street. Everly will be joining us, of course." Willow led the way into the adjoining conference room. The older man was hesitant to follow. Undaunted, Everly took his arm and started chatting as she gently led him forward. "Do you like coffee, Mr. McMurray? Please tell me you'll join me for a cup. We have a new machine, and I just love using it. We have a new, it makes regular coffee, of course, but if you like lattes or cappuccinos, I can whip one up in just a jiffy. Just say the word." A bit confused by the little whirlwind beside him, he managed to sputter, "I reckon just a normal coffee. I don't even know what them other things are." She flashed him another bright smile. "No problem. You have a seat right here, and I'll grab your coffee." She thoughtfully led him to the chair with the highest seat, guessing that his joints didn't move as easily as they once had. The room was designed to feel more like a living room dining room than a place of business. A small leather settee and several armchairs created an intimate conversation area, all upholstered in warm beige browns and blues. Behind them was an antique dining room set that doubled as a conference table. Everything about the room was warm, inviting, and meant to put clients at ease. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Willow encouraged, while they settled into their seats. Where do you live? I don't believe we've ever met before. Not far from the border, about 20 miles into the hills. He offered a backward nod of his head to indicate the direction. Perched so close to the Missouri-Arkansas line, Intuitive Investigations was licensed in both states. Their cases often crisscross between the two. If you don't mind me asking, how did you hear about us? The keen old gentleman knew what Willow was doing. Look, his manner was straightforward. There's no need for chatter. I've been keeping this secret bottled up inside me for too long, and it's to plumb burst out of my soul. Why have you kept this bottled up for so many years, Mr. McMurray? A fine bead of sweat formed on the old man's forehead. He pulled a handkerchief from the pocket of his overalls, ran it across his face, and stuffed it back in its place. Fear, I reckon, or stupidity. But my days are numbered now, and I don't want to meet my Maker with this burden weighing down on my heart. It's time to tell the truth. Those young'uns deserve as much. There was no need for Willow to pretend she didn't know what boys he meant. Their disappearance had been the biggest mystery to rock the hills since the gruesome murder of Ella Varham in 1912. Everly returned with 3 cups of steaming coffee balanced on a tray. Placing it on the coffee table, she narrowed her eyes and murmured, 3 college boys from the city were here to film a small-time documentary on the legend of the Flaming Woman, but they never returned, right? Right, Willow confirmed. It was after the teenage horror movie came out, the one about the witch in the woods. The boys used the premise to make their own version based on local legend. That's the movie I rented for a slumber party, and you made us turn off halfway into, Everly accused. Her mother sniffed. It had filthy language, a ridiculous premise, and was hardly suitable for pre-teens. Gus McMurray wasn't interested in hearing their squabble. The horror he experienced was far worse because it was real. Stopping her rant abruptly, Willow's tone was contrite. I apologize, Mr. McMurray. We didn't mean to get sidetracked, but I do believe that was the catalyst for those boys being there. But their bodies were never found. There's no proof that there was a crime committed or they didn't make it out of the mountains. He countered with, there's no proof they did either. Can you tell me why you believe the boys are dead? I told you, I know they're dead because I know who killed them. They were getting nowhere, and Willow's patience would sin. And who would that be, sir? Who do you think killed those boys? I don't think, he stubbornly replied. I know. Have you gone to the sheriff with this information? It wasn't a trick question, but the old man's entire countenance changed. He slid a nervous glance toward the door. His brushy brows bunched together, creating the illusion of a hairy caterpillar crawling across his forehead. Going to the sheriff would be a mistake. I don't understand, Mr. McMurray, Willow said with a sigh. You say a crime was committed, but that you can't go to the sheriff. What is it you think we can do that he can't? You can help me find the proof. Proof? I thought you had the proof, Everly all but squeaked. Not exactly, he admitted. I ain't wrong, but I ain't got all the proof I need to prove it either. That's why I want to hire you ladies. You've earned yourself a reputation of getting results, and results is what I need. That's our goal, Mr. McMurray, Willow assured him as her voice gentled. But I don't earn that reputation by going into a situation unprepared. That's why you need to start from the beginning and tell us everything you know. Gus rubbed his fingers across his forehead, concentrating on where and how to begin. Near about 25 years ago, I was out trapping in the woods when I heard a ruckus. I followed the sound and saw 2 of them boys up near Kenny Knob, arguing with an older filler. The 3rd boy was peeking out from the bush, filming the whole thing. Next thing I know, there's a scuffle, and one of the boys goes flying off the ridge. Gus shook his white head in sorrow. His disbelief was palatable even after all these years. The second boy fought back, but the man pulled a knife. He used it on that poor boy, then pushed him over the edge, same as his friend. Everly's blue eyes filled with empathy. Willow managed a whispered sentence. He pushed them over the edge of the ridge? But that's at least 30-foot drop, onto more rock no less. What did you do? His chin dropped to his chest. It's what I didn't do that haunts me, he mumbled. He took him a moment to collect himself. But Gus finally lifted his head. His clouds were clouded as he stared into the past. Everyone knew them boys were there to make a film. At first, I reckoned the fight was part of it. There'd be a safety net over the edge to catch them boys when they fell. When did you realize that wasn't part of the film? Willow asked softly. When the man pulled the knife. Even that could have been part of it, I reckoned, even if the blood looked real. Then the third boy cried out. The first two hollered when they went over, but I figured that too was all for show. But the third boy. Gus pulled his hand over his face. It was like a wounded animal. I heard a mama panther screech like that one time when her baby was killed by a poacher. The sound sent chills all through my body. He needed another moment before continuing. The man whirled and saw the boy cowering there by the bush. Quick as a wink, the boy pushed his camera under a clump of leaves and old branches. Both women sat on the edge of their seats, knowing yet dreading the outcome of the story. It was like watching a terrible accident unfolding before their eyes. They knew what was coming, but they were unable to do anything about it. It was too horrible to see, too painful to imagine, yet still they watched. And then, Everly breathed, there was another ruckus. The man was yelling, wanting to know how much the boy saw. The boy lied, but it was no use. The man punched him hard, knocking him to the ground. I didn't even bother with a knife. He didn't even bother with a knife. He just kept on beating and beating and beating. I ain't never seen a man so angry. He didn't know you were there, Willow guessed. Swallowing hard, Gus shook his head. I guess I could have saved that boy, but I was a coward. While he was beating that boy to a pulp, I slipped back into the woods. The last thing I saw was the man kicking the body's boy over the side of Kenny's Ridge. Silence thrummed throughout the room. It took a moment for them all to catch their breath. Not a minute goes by, Gus said in a broken voice, that I don't regret my cowardly ways. It would do no good to condemn the old man. What was done, and his grief was plain to see. How did you get away? Willow asked. I grabbed the camera and hid there until dark. Didn't go down until I was sure the man was long gone. You got the camera? Everly asked excitedly, impressed he had thought to grab it. Snatched it on my way out. Took it home with me, but didn't know what to do with it. You could have started by taking it to the sheriff, Willow pointed out. Told you, he insisted stubbornly. I couldn't do that. I had my family to think about, and I was no match for money and power. No one would have believed an old mountain boy like me. He chose to overlook his foolhardy notion for a moment. Do you still have the camera? He squirmed in his seat. Not exactly. So you hid the only proof you had, and now you've lost it? I haven't exactly lost it. I just don't know where it is. Everly cocked her head to one side, sending red curls tumbling. Did you somehow displace the camera? You might say that. You see, I hid it, but it ain't there no more. What do you think happened to it? My boy cleaned out the shed a few weeks ago. I reckon he may have sold it like he did the rest of the other stuff. He mumbled something about no respect for history and tradition. Have you asked him? Willow wanted to know. I can't, at least for now. He went off on one of them retreats. He waved his weathered hand by his temple, snorting with disapproval. Supposed to give him clarity and cleanse his soul, or some other such nonsense. When will he be back? With Gideon, you never know. He disappeared for almost a year without nary a word. If we hadn't just buried my Delta, it would have plumb killed her.